Hello. In this video, I will be talking about the topic of data protection. More precisely, I will be talking about the changes in recent times to the laws regarding data protection and how they will affect organizations. I'm going to be talking about the data protection within the EU. The Data Protection Directive is a European Union directive adopted in 1995 that regulates the processing of personal data within the European Union. There are three main principles of the Data Protection Directive. First being transparency. Every individual has the right to be informed when their personal data is being processed and may only be processed if it meets some conditions, like individual has given consent. Second being legitimate purpose. Personal data should only be processed for explicit and legitimate purposes and nothing else. The third being proportionality. Personal data may only be processed when it is relevant and not excessive in relation to the purposes for which they are collected. Must be also kept up to date, and member states must lay down appropriate safeguard if the data needs to be stored for a longer period for various use. In December 2015, the European Commission brought out the General Data Protection Act, or GDPR for short. This will need to be implemented by every EU state as law by 6 May 2016. The main changes included in the GDPR are as followed. Expanded territorial reach. This regulation will affect non-EU member countries if they target data of EU consumers. Accountability. Data controllers will be more accountable for the data they control. Consent. Consent needs to be as easy to withdraw as it is to give. Data breach notification. Any breach of the data needs to be reported to the DPA within 72 hours. Removal of notification requirement. Data controllers no longer need to seek approval or notify the DPA in many circumstances. And finally, data subject rights. Overall, this regulation gives people more control over how their data is processed. The introduction of the GDPR will affect organizations in various ways, the first being the possibility of fines. Organizations who do not comply with the new regulations could face fines of up to 4% of their annual worldwide turnover, or €20 million, whichever is more. Organizations will also have to hire more data processing officers to control their data in the required ways. The way that organizations gain consent for personal information may also change, and the final change could be in the upgrade of the security systems used to protect data to a more sophisticated version.